So you've just bought yourself a shiny new Nintendo Switch, you've set up your Nintendo account and are just about ready to dive into Nintendo's back catalogue. But there are a few things that you should know that may make your experience with the console a little more enjoyable and may save you a bit of cash along the way. Today on the channel, I just so happen to have 10 such tips for you, and even if you're a veteran Switch player, there may be a couple in there which you may not have been aware of or just simply overlooked. So without further ado, drop a like and subscribe for more Nintendo Switch content, and let's get into them. So if you're planning playing your Nintendo Switch docked at any point, my first tip would be invest in a Nintendo Switch Pro controller or something similar such as 8BitDo's Ultimate Controller, or even the hoary SwitchPad Pro, especially if you're going to be playing on the go. The standard Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons are one of the worst controllers that I've ever used. Sure, they feel fine to begin with and fit with the Nintendo Switch's sleek design, but they're far too small and after a while you'll likely find your hands cramping up from using them. They're also incredibly prone to Joy-Con drift, whereby even when the thumbstick is at full rest, it will still detect it as being pushed in a certain direction, which can be an absolute nightmare when playing things like first-person shooters or fighting games where accurate crosshair placements or inputs are a must-have. I've had my Pro controller about 4 years now though, and I've used it almost every day and I've had no issues whatsoever with Joy-Con drift, and while it may feel a little small compared to other consoles, all in all it's a pretty well made controller. If you already own another console though, and were wanting to use your Xbox or PS5 controllers with a Switch, then here's where our next tip comes in, because with a little magic dongle, you can hook up your favourite rival controller and play Switch games in sweet familiarity. Now, there are a bunch of different Bluetooth adapters available, but a couple that I've seen that get decent reviews on Amazon are firstly the official 8BitDo wireless USB adapter, or alternatively the Mayflash Magic NS adapter. And it may seem like I'm pushing 8BitDo products in this video, but I assure you I've not been sponsored to do so, they just have a pretty decent reputation. From what I hear, people have had a couple of issues with these dongles, but the setup seems pretty straightforward. You plug your dongle into the Switch, press the little button on it to begin syncing, and put your controller into Bluetooth mode to connect it, though apparently you may have to turn on the Pro controller wired communications in the settings. Once it's connected though, you should be pretty much good to go. Now if you're a parent who has bought a Nintendo Switch for one of your younger children, then you may want to consider turning on Parental Controls to ensure your little tyke doesn't inadvertently find themselves playing some of the console's less savoury titles, or alternatively, if you're one of those types of parents, restrict the fun time with the console. In order to do so though, you're going to need to download Nintendo's official app to your smartphone to set things up. But thankfully if you navigate to the settings menu on the Switch, there's a cute little video giving you info on how to do so and providing you with a bit of an overview of the parental control settings. Being a full-grown adult without any kind of self-control, I haven't yet used this function, though probably should have. But if you were looking to protect the little ones, then this is how you can do it. So if like me you're constantly jumping from game to game and like to have a bit of a collection on hand to dive into whenever the mood takes you, then you're going to want to upgrade your storage capacity, as the standard Nintendo Switch consoles come with a measly 32GB capacity, while the Switch OLED model doubles that to 64GB. But it's worth noting that part of these are also taken up by the operating system. Thankfully, this upgrade is a simple process of buying yourself a microSD card and then popping it into the console's microSD card slot, which can be found hidden behind its rather flimsy kickstand. And most microSD cards should do the trick, but I recommend going with something from a reputable vendor such as SanDisk, and make sure that it has UHS 1 or the letter U with a 1 in it, as this is the transfer speed and U1 is currently the fastest that the Switch can take advantage of. Now our next few tips all revolve around the Nintendo Switch eShop, and It's an absolute treasure trove of awesome games, especially indie titles, but Nintendo themselves are incredibly incompetent when it comes to maintaining the quality of games being sold, and almost anyone can get anything onto it these days. This though is where I give myself a bit of a shameless plug and say watch out for scammers and asset flippers on the eShop, as there are a lot of games on the store which contain fake screenshots or descriptions, or are simply game templates purchased by these so-called developers and then ported to the Switch without any kind of input from them, when the games themselves can otherwise be picked up for free on mobile. If you want to know more about scam games and asset flips though, and how to spot and avoid them, then be sure to check out my Scam Games playlist, where I've covered off a bunch of them and also named and shamed several publishers that you should definitely be avoiding. This though leads me on to my next tip, and that is to always do your research and watch or read reviews of games before you go ahead and buy them. It seems like an obvious thing to say, but the Nintendo Switch has no rating system, and getting a refund from Nintendo is like trying to draw blood from a stone. And there are also a lot of well-known games which have received Switch ports, but due to the system's hardware limitations, these are often subpar ports which suffer from a lot of performance issues and are nowhere near as good as the versions on other consoles, or in some cases are practically unplayable. For reviews though, my recommendation is to check out some dedicated Nintendo Switch YouTube channels and websites. For YouTube, I can recommend my good mate Alex over at Switch Corner, as well as SwitchUp for your more mainstream coverage, or if you're into indie games, then myself of course, as well as Switch Heads and I Dream of Indie Games, though these guys cover multiple consoles as well as PC. As for written reviews, for mainstream I recommend going with Nintendo Life, Noisy Pixel, The Escapist and XP Corner, or for indie games, the Elite Institute or the Gaming Slush Pile provide some great write-ups for those lesser known titles. Now when it comes to getting a great deal on Nintendo Switch games, you're really going to want to shop around and not just in your own country. With the Nintendo Switch though, you can access other countries' eShops simply by creating a new account for that region, and it's a really simple process. You just go to Nintendo's website, create an account and select that country, though you are going to need to provide a unique email address for the account and usually pop in a random postal or zip code for it. Once it's set up though, and you've added it to your Nintendo Switch, you can then open up the eShop using it, and deals often go live on different dates in different countries, with some being much cheaper than others in certain countries. The only real downside to this is that each account needs a different credit card or debit card linked to it, though you can also use PayPal. But if you don't have multiple payment options available to you, then you'll need to buy regional digital eShop cards, and for these I usually use Alex from Switch Corner's Fame Hype shop at cornershop.gg, as it covers most regions, bar Japan and Brazil, and it also has a quick delivery time. If you are shopping for deals though, the number one resource that I would recommend checking out for snagging a bargain is the website DecuDeals. This is an awesome little website which not only allows you to see what games are on sale right now and order them by the biggest discount, but also see which deals are ending soon and what the latest upcoming releases are for the console. You can also switch between regions on the website, allowing you to view deals and prices in almost every country, and if you actually click on a game, you get a nifty little graph which shows details about its sale history, so if you happen to have missed a deal, this will give you an idea of when it might be coming up again. It's a fantastic little website though, and a definite must use for anyone in the market for a bargain. Now if you're looking to play some multiplayer on the Switch, it's important to note that you don't actually require a Nintendo Switch Online subscription for most games in order to do so. Most first-party Nintendo games such as Mario Kart, Splatoon or Super Smash Bros. Do require you to have a subscription, but the vast majority of indie games and almost all of the free-to-play games including Fortnite, Apex Legends and Overwatch 2 don't actually require one. The subscription itself is reasonably priced though and does come with a few perks. A standard membership will give you access to a bunch of classic NES, Super NES and Game Boy titles, as well as the cloud-based data saving, while the expansion pack adds the Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance and Sega Mega Drive emulators, as well as giving you access to the full Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass and a bunch of Animal Crossing stuff. It's well worth it in my opinion, but only if you want to play some classic retro games or are looking to play some mainstream Nintendo titles online. So my final tip today then for new Switch owners and veterans alike is don't be afraid to try something new. While most people buy the Nintendo Switch to play the latest Mario game, Zelda game or Animal Crossing, these kind of AAA titles make up only a fraction of what the console has to offer, and without a shadow of a doubt, it's the vast selection of indie games which really make it worth a purchase. Admittedly, the current state of the eShop makes things difficult. It's clunky to use, and the recent releases and current offers are packed to the eyeballs with shovelware shite. But like I said, do your research, look up some reviews, and once you find something you like the look of, don't be afraid to take the plunge and give it a go. I guarantee you'll find a hidden gem to play for only a couple of dollars. If you want some recommendations of indie games that I've played and enjoyed in the past though, then be sure to check out my top Switch games lists and for the super budget offerings, my dollar deals videos. That though my friends is it for now, my top 10 tips for new Switch owners, so I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you think that I may have missed anything, then be sure to comment down below with your own tips and tricks. But for now, be sure to subscribe for more Nintendo Switch content. Thanks to the patrons of the channel for their ongoing support, and to you the viewers for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.